Good evening, football fans. Welcome to the Masks Off NFL podcast. So happy to have you here. We're coming live, setting up week 3. I am your boy, Theo Bischoff, a.k.a. Fuck Prince of Narnia, a.k.a. Mr. Monday Night, a.k.a. Woo! With me, as usual, we have Squigs, Derek, and we have Fat Robbie. How you doing, boys?
Yo,
Doing well. Excited to be here.
we're vibing. I like that Mr. Monday Night. Wow.
Yes,
All
sir.
right. So let's get this
Hey,
fucking going, dude. Week 2 was fucking insane, and I'm ready to talk about it. I'm just saying. Theo, what you got?
well, I think the biggest takeaway from week 2 that we need to talk about is an unfortunate one, but it's a realistic part of this game, especially such a physical game, is the long list of injured players who are taken off the field this week. I mean, you hate to see it, especially to the bunch of players that it happened to. I'm going to hit you guys with a list of just some of the players, some of the bigger names that got taken off the field this week. We got Nick Bosa, Saquon Barkley, Christian McCaffrey, Drew Lock, Cortland Sutton, Jimmy Garoppolo, Devontae Adams, Tavon Young, Malik Hooker, Brandon Scherf, Byron Jones, Raheem Mostert, Tyrod Taylor, Anthony Barr, Brandon Linder, Paris Campbell, Caleb McGarry, Bruce Irvin, and Will Fuller.
Is that absolutely everybody that went off
Did
the field
you
this week?
did
That
you
was a
not
very long
mention
list.
anything from Sunday night with Condre Diggs and Marquise Blair? Both of those guys are out for the season too, as well, I believe. I know Marquise
Marjorie
Blair.
Diggs, I thought he got ejected.
No,
No,
Quandre Diggs did
no.
get ejected.
Yeah.
Marquise Blair is out for the season, and then the linebacker, I forgot his name. Marquise Blair was Diggs' backup. He is out for the
Yes.
season. With concussion, and then it was can't see the name. Where's the freaking name? I can't find it.
I mean, Bruce Irvin
Bruce Irvin,
was
that's
out
it.
already.
Bruce Irvin. He's out for the season
Yeah.
with an ACL.
Could we just
Yeah,
bring up the
so
strangest injury of them all, though? How did Tyrod Taylor get punctured in the lung? What was the whole thing was just really weird to me that like before the game he was getting shut up because his ribs were hurt and the dude put the thing into his lung. I don't understand what the guy's doing where he doesn't know that his lung's there or something, but like that might have screwed Tyrod Taylor's whole career
Wait,
because
what did he
is
do?
Justin Herbert not going to play anymore?
so the thing was is that he was having rib injuries, and they tried to give him a painkiller,
Yeah.
and apparently the doctor fucked up and punctured his lung. I don't know the exact details on that. I also am pretty sure that I heard that the type of painkiller that they used to that they tried to give him was like semi illegal, like questionable in the
Well,
NFL.
let's just say this:
There we go, Anthony
Tyrod
Lynn.
Taylor is going to get a handsome compensation because he is going to file a class action lawsuit as fast as possible.
You
True.
goddamn right.
And then just retire into the sunset.
I mean, he doesn't have the
How's
job
it built?
anymore. He doesn't have the job. Like, let's be
No, he
honest.
doesn't.
I know. Anthony Lynn said Tyrod Taylor still has a job when he comes back, but let's be honest. Tyrod Taylor fucks up once, the job's gone.
100%.
True.
Top
Yeah.
10 pick. Look good.
He looked like
Speaking of
he
which,
looked great. He looked great. I loved it.
I mean, let's talk about Justin Herbert. I mean,
Sure.
so we're talking about this guy, and you have to keep in mind that he was a top 10 pick this year, like you said, and it's not like he found out he was going to be the starter the week before or the day before. He found out mere hours before. Like he had his jersey on, and the
No,
players were on
no,
the.
no. It was like
It was minutes.
It was like 60 seconds before the game started.
Yeah.
Well, then
It was literally
there
like
you
at,
go.
at
He had,
kickoff.
he had literally. Then he had literally zero
Yeah.
preparation time.
Hmm.
No first team reps. He was not in the mentality to play that day. And he came out and he looked damn respectable. He looked like a veteran player against a strong Kansas City Chiefs team. He
Yeah.
had 300 yards. He had a passing touchdown and a rushing touchdown. He threw one interception, which I mean that's as good as you can get with a guy whose first game has minutes of warm up time for him to
And
get in the right mindset. So,
I
what do we
think
think
he's
about Justin Herbert?
I think he's a better fit for that offense than Tyrod ever was. Because he's willing to take shots downfield. They have big play receivers and big play guys that I don't really think Tyrod was ever going to use. Like Mike Williams Derek notoriously says he's a one-trick pony, but that one trick that he has is very impressive, and he's able to get open downfield. And if you saw Justin Herbert, I'm not sure the exact number of targets, but Mike Williams was near the top of the team in targets by the end of the game, where he was willing to take these shots. And he threw one of the best balls, I think, all week, where he dropped it in between three guys, hits receiver in the arms, and it was just a really beautiful pass.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what to say. I'm not trying to defend the Chiefs because like you guys have known me and I talk shit on our defense consistently. Our defense can't tackle worth shit, and our secondary fucking is kind of, especially with the corners we have now. Like, I'm not saying they're bad, but like, once again, we weren't expecting a fucking gunslinger today. We were expecting Tyrod Taylor. Like, I feel like that's the thing. Like, no one's seen Justin Herbert. We have no film on him 60 seconds before the game, and Justin Herbert came out there and lit the fucking shit up. And once again, I'm not taking anything from him because he played fucking great. And it just happened to be that it was a day that our offense wasn't playing great either. So like, I see no confidence loss from that loss. Like, I feel like Justin Herbert is. I thought it was Drew Lock, but Drew Lock's injured, and it's hard to be good when you're on the field. Like Justin Herbert, when you're on the field, like Justin Herbert is a fucking stud right now, and I can't wait to see what that fucking Disney Channel looking motherfucker looks like in the future. So that's what I got to say. I think Justin Herbert's best play was not his best play, but a really good, and it was Tony Romo, I believe, that called it out. Was when the screen was busted, he threw the ball at the ground. He didn't try and force the ball to the running back and then potentially, get picked off or something. Like, he threw the screen into the ground because it was a dead play regardless. He didn't try and do anything stupid, which I think was a veteran move.
On his touchdown as well, Romo pointed out that he went through every single one of his reads before he threw the ball, which a lot of quarterbacks don't necessarily do. He looked at I think he had 5 options, and like the 5th option was open, so he threw the ball there. And it was someone that I didn't even really see when the play was live. All of a sudden, the ball was in the corner of the end zone, and he caught it. It was just very impressive to see that he was comfortable and aware of everything going on.
Yeah, I think this offense is going to be, like you said, a lot better with him at the helm rather than Tyrod. And like you can't make a game plan around Tyrod Taylor. Like you just can't. Like, come on.
Yeah, you kind of just have to hope it works out.
Yeah, so
the Chargers' next game is against the Panthers, so I think that's going to be a much better chance for him to demonstrate himself once he gets some first team reps and he gets out onto the field, not playing a team like the Chiefs. I think the Chiefs the Panthers Chargers games will be a good one for Justin Herbert next week.
Yeah.
Speaking of big weeks, it was also a huge week for tight ends that we couldn't help noticing. And Squigs has some numbers to lay on you to talk about the tight end performances of the week.
Yeah. So I if you don't know, I am a big tight end guy. I love tight ends all across the league. So I have the maths. I don't know why you're laughing, Robbie. Like, it's like you don't know this.
Funny. Big tight end guy.
It's like you don't know this.
He's such a big tight end guy in the group.
It's like you don't know this. I love tight ends.
I was very aware. I've been aware of your love for the tight end position.
So speaking of that, as of week 2, 2020, there was 1,700 total yards by tight ends. 300-yard games, 1 90-yard game. Travis Kelce was the 90-yarder. 18 total touchdowns, and 31% of the touchdowns were caught by tight ends from week 2. And
wow.
It's crazy. If you look back at week 1, it was little under 1,300 yards. So a 400-yard difference. I think the yards is what shines. Like, I was telling Robbie all last week, like, this is like every week there's a week where tight ends go off, and I think it was this week. Like every time you've seen the fucking scoreboard just light up with fucking tight ends, tight end feed, and then yeah. Last week it was 1,300 yards and 400-yard difference from this week to last week, or last week 2 to week 1. It was insane. Tight ends balled. Mo Alley Cox off the bench for Indianapolis, coming in and putting in work with 5 receptions, 111. Mike Gesicki 8 for 130, and Darren Waller 12
Jordan Reed
for 105. Jordan Reed's down here. Jordan Reed was where you at?
He had 2 touchdowns.
He had 2 tutties. He went 7 for 50. It's Yeah, I think there's a lot of love for the tight ends this week. So that's all I got to say about the tight ends.
I mean, I also got to shout out the Tyler Higbee hat trick
Yeah.
Yeah,
that pulled the Rams over the Eagles this weekend, which is one of the reasons I'm rocking the Rams jersey. Last week, I talked about how Jared Goff was a good start in my burnt take against the Eagles, and the Goff to Higbee connection proved me right. So shout out Los Angeles. You did me dirty in week 1, but then you bounced back and beat the Eagles for me in week 2. So I can't stay mad at you. I appreciate it. Uh, Speaking of pass catchers, I want to mention the DeAndre Hopkins. I mean, he's been looking as advertised for the Arizona Cardinals so far.
Better than.
I don't know if you've saw this, but he actually with this past week he broke the record for a receiver having catches in their first 2 games with their new team. He had 22 catches over the first
really.
2 weeks of the season, which is a record for receivers and their new teams, which they went to through free agency. I don't think that counts teams that they get drafted to. You know what I mean? So
Right.
I think that was very interesting. Kyler Murray is showing really early that he's his guy. He's a big
Yeah,
DeAndre
and
Hopkins guy.
because before, who did he really have last year? And Kyler Murray looked like a decent quarterback. All of a sudden, he's got like a real threat, not just downfield, but like just when things go awry, you have DeAndre Hopkins. Just throw it over there, he'll probably catch it. And that's kind of what he's always been. He was that for Deshaun Watson, and I think he's even more of that now for Kyler. It's just he's with playmakers and he's making plays himself.
Yeah, like I think it's a testament to DeAndre Hopkins' legacy. It's not legacy, but like in the sense
Yeah.
like that it wasn't Deshaun Watson making him play well. Like it was it's him. Him and Michael Thomas are very similar to me, where they don't catch a lot of deep balls, but they're really good at these 5 yard slants, five and in, five and out, like, and then they do stuff after the catch.
Hmm.
And there's always open. So they're very similar in that regard. That they're not deep threats or anything. They're just look my way and I'll probably be open. If I'm not open, still throw me the ball. I'll catch it. You know?
Absolutely. We kind of skipped over. We kind of segued perfectly into Justin Herbert, and we were so excited to talk about him that we skipped over last week's Thursday night game, which I gotta say was some beautiful AFC North football. I mean, that's probably the purest kind of football there is.
Must
Uh,
be completions.
but the Browns running backs, the team of Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. I was talking to Squiggles about this last week, but that might be the best running back tandem in the NFL. You go ahead.
I'm sorry. Um, yeah. I remember texting you. I was like, "Is it too bold of me to say this?" And then you were like, "I was thinking the same thing." That's why we do this podcast. We're on the same wavelength. Um, but no, like shit, you not, dude. Kareem Hunt, obviously he had his incidents, but he was a number one, not number. He was top five, top seven running back in the league when he was with the Chiefs. Is that not? Can we all be fair to say that? Um,
Fantasy wise.
I feel like on the field too. I feel like he was
Just continue. Just continue.
okay. I don't know where that's coming from. Look at his stats. Um, but I think the thing is with Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb is 1,000 yard rusher. I believe he had 298 carries last year. I believe that was the stat. He had five less than Derrick Henry. Um, and Kareem Hunt comes in, and it's amazing that you have thunder and thunder compared to a typical backfield of thunder and lightning. And the thing is that if you need Nick Chubb to catch the ball, he can catch it if you really need him to. And Kareem Hunt, like I feel like they brought in Kareem Hunt to be that pass catching back, and they just found that this works as well. Like, oh hey, Nick Chubb, you're tired. Hey, let's put Kareem Hunt in. Okay. Oh hey, Kareem Hunt, you're tired. Let's put Nick Chubb in. Like, you don't lose with whoever's in the backfield. Like, it's the best backfield in the league.
And the thing is, I don't really have anything to say that you're wrong. I don't have any combination of two backs that I would put above those two. I think that they benefit a lot from having two of the best receiving duo in the league. I think that as far as Jarvis and Odell go, it's kind of hard to put two. Obviously, you can put receivers above them, but I think that it's a big impact is that you have two pass catchers to go with the two backs, where it opens things up for them a lot more. But you're right with the Thunder and Thunder thing, you don't have a pass catching back, so it's just who's going to run it down your throat, and they're both always ready to go.
Right. I do have something to spit some facts to you, Robbie. To prove that
I'm ready for
that he
facts.
was a top five, top five, top seven running back. His first year, 272 carries, 1,327 yards, 8 touchdowns, 53 receptions, 455 yards. His second year, 11 games only before he got suspended, 181 carries, 824 yards, 7 touchdowns, 26 receptions, 378 yards, 7 touchdowns. That is a top tier running back, and he's still a top tier running back. He's just splitting it with, like we just mentioned, like it's the best duo in football as a running back. So I wanted to clear the air.
I'm glad we got that out of the way. I think we need to talk about these primetime games. The Sunday night game between the Seahawks and the Patriots. I mean, that was I believe we hit the nail on the head, and that game really delivered to our lofty expectations. Russell Wilson threw for 5 touchdowns. Not only did he do that, which I mean, you got to love that regardless of any other stat, but he threw 5 touchdowns to 5 different receivers, including his running back. Everybody from DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett all the way down to guys who I can't even for the life of me remember what their names were. So he was getting everybody involved all day long in the end zone. I mean, it's hard to beat a team when they're getting everybody touches like that. I know, Squigs, you wanted to say a thing or two about the DK Metcalf versus Stephon Gilmore matchup.
Yes, I want to reiterate the fact that last week, I said that DK Metcalf for me is trending. I don't think he's a number one yet because I haven't seen enough of him. But the fact that he can go against the former defensive player of the year and basically make him look like a fucking little kid in daycare. I like DK Metcalf is I think he's the number one receiver now. Like it's not like it was defensive player of the year 3 years ago, Stephon Gilmore. It was defensive player of the year last year, Stephon Gilmore, and he fucking manhandled him. So yeah, I like DK Metcalf. Like I think he's a number one now. I really do.
Speaking of number one receivers, I got to give a shout out to Julian Edelman because Julian Edelman had a quietly huge game for the Patriots last night. I mean, he had 8 catches for 179 yards. So no touchdowns, I believe, but he set his personal best in terms of receiving yards in the game, which I thought was very interesting because he's been playing with Brady for so many years, and this is his second game with Cam Newton, and he's already hitting career numbers. I mean, that's incredibly impressive to me. He took some big hits as usual. I think Julian Edelman is one of those great, underrated, old school football players that we always love to talk about on the podcast.
Yeah.
I think it's more that Cam's willing to take shots than Brady ever was. That was never Brady's thing. He wasn't willing to push the ball downfield. And the throw he had to Julian, that was a majority of those yards, that he just pushed the ball downfield, like just absolutely probably as far as Cam could really throw the ball. I mean, I don't think that was a big thing with Brady's offense. And I think the thing is, too, the added element of the run for Cam is going to allow Julian to maybe get more opportunities because before it's all about containing Julian and about not letting him get run after the catch up, forcing him to the sidelines, and that's not really what he's been doing in this offense so far.
I could agree with that.
Yeah, I think the same thing. Like I mentioned last week, I was like, if Cam had any shot to win the game, like he had to play like 2015 Cam. Not necessarily 2015 Cam, but like he had to play a lot better
Pretty
than
much.
But he had to play a lot better than what he did the week one. Because like, yeah, he ran for 75 yards, but he threw for like 155. So, but he like, I think it's safe to say that the Jaguars, the Patriots are still a threat. Like with Cam Newton, like I know
their division really isn't that good.
Yeah, I mean that makes them still a threat. Like I think that's why they're a threat is because like we can almost not guarantee it, but the way if they play like they did Sunday night, Like they're probably going to win the division.
Yeah, they get to play the Dolphins and the Jets each twice, so that's gonna help a lot. That's
Yeah.
four pretty easy wins. But to me, on that very last play of the game, I think everybody in the whole entire world knew what they were going to do, and that's why I had in my mind, why aren't they spreading out receivers so Cam at least has the option to throw? Because where Cam's at his absolute best is in these RPO scenarios, and if you just gave Cam an option to just run up the line and jump pass it to somebody, that probably would have worked much more than him having to just run through four guys to get in the end zone. Because clearly, if the whole world knows that he's going to run the ball, the defense clearly knows exactly what's going to happen. You just saw guys shooting gaps at the moment it opened up because they were giving the ball to Cam. And I expected more from Bill Belichick on the 1 yard line down five.
I agree with that. He did that I think 4 times for touchdowns in the past 2 weeks, including that game. So
Mm-hmm.
I kind of agree with that was an interesting play call. Derek, check your phone. I want to talk about the Monday night game with the Raiders and the Saints. This game was kind of sneaky in how good it was. I think not sneaky in how good it was, but sneaky in how good it was going to be.
Yeah.
So the Raiders came out, and I thought they were doing some pretty big things. It was pretty impressive, I gotta say. Derek Carr looked as good as I've ever seen Derek Carr play, and the offense looked clean. I mean, there were really no weak spots in what they were doing. I thought we were talking about tight ends and how important they were this week. Darren Waller looked basically unstoppable.
Yeah.
Demario Davis and Malcolm Jenkins are not only some of the better players on the Saints defense, but I think they're some of the better defensive players in the league. And they look completely clueless with how to stop this guy. He was just bigger than the smaller guys and faster than the slower guys. I mean, that's the best way I could break it down. Derek Carr had a huge game. Darren Waller had a huge game. One guy that I gotta say was pretty special and under the radar maybe was rookie Brian Edwards, who was a receiver from South Carolina. I had paid attention to Brian Edwards a little bit in the draft process. Nothing really jumped out at me. I mean, I wouldn't have been able, I couldn't tell you that he was on the Raiders. But watching him the other night, he looked very, very good. He was wearing Amari Cooper's 89. It was giving me a little bit of a flashback. Basically, he didn't even have a monster game. He had 2 catches for 42 yards. What was very impressive to me was that he had 2 targets. So he caught 100% of the balls that were thrown at him, and both of those times he was covered by Marshawn Lattimore, who I think is one of the better corners in the game. Fuck me if I'm wrong, but I think Marshawn Lattimore is one of the better cover guys out there, and he basically played Marshawn Lattimore as good as any professional wide receiver I've ever seen play. What do we think about the Monday night game?
I remember last week I went out and I said that the Raiders are eerily similar to the Chiefs in the way they run their offense. And I watched it today and it didn't really look like the Chiefs at all. It looked very different. I think that they were using Darren Waller in more run and catch type scenarios, and the receivers, yes, they were getting open deep, but it wasn't quite the same. I thought this looked a little bit more similar to a Rams offense, where it was run the ball first, a lot of zone reads and things of that nature, and they're using their size on the offensive line. I remember when Gruden first got there, one of the first things he did was just upgrade the size that he has for his offensive linemen, and that's starting to show where he's paid some guys and not some other guys, and it's just very impressive with how he kind of built this team offensive line first. And that's showing with the way that Josh Jacobs gets open and it's able to get these kinds of runs. And I don't know, it's just, I've been impressed with what the Raiders are building. But that kind of leads me to a second question, which is, do you doubt the Saints, or do you think this was just because there was no Michael Thomas, this team suffered more than we would have expected them to? Are the Raiders good, or are the Saints not that good without Michael Thomas?
I think go
No,
ahead.
you go. You go.
I think it's probably maybe a healthy combination of both. Like we knew Michael Thomas was a huge factor on this team, but maybe we underestimated what the Saints could do without him. I still think the offense is just fine. I mean, they looked good for most of the night. Maybe some
Kamara looked really good.
absolute. Oh, I'm totally with that. Kamara had a great game. Maybe there were some small mistakes that Michael Thomas wouldn't have made that came out in the long run, but that was still an efficient offense with Drew Brees leading. I think maybe it was the first week without Michael Thomas was an issue. I think maybe if Michael Thomas is out for a while, which I think he's going to be, they'll be able to adjust and figure some things out otherwise.
Yeah, because there were some very non-Drew Brees type drives. Because towards the end of that game, if they would have just scored, it kind of would have either put him right back in the game. They would have been fine if they'd been able to score the ball. But like with 4 minutes left, Drew Brees has the ball, and they just give it right back to the Raiders. And that's just not very Drew Brees-esque. And to me, that's kind of where Michael Thomas comes into play, because on those important downs, he's just open. Like we said earlier, he's like DeAndre Hopkins, just kind of always open. So I think in clutch time, it's possible that that's the Michael Thomas difference, but you just hope that because Drew Brees is so efficient in his passes that you don't have to get there. So I think I agree with you where it is a little bit of both, that the Raiders were able to stay in that game, and it ended up paying out in the long run.
I agree. Uh,
Yeah, no, I was gonna say something real quick. I think that is a big thing. Because we saw it. It wasn't just. I mean, obviously, like I didn't watch the game, but I was following the game because my internet was acting up, and I have to stream the Monday night game, so I don't have ESPN. But the fact of the matter is, what I noticed was that Jared Cook was only held to one reception for 13 yards and a touchdown. I believe that's what the stat line was. And the fact that Jared Cook's usually good for like 5 receptions, maybe roughly. Like the fact that Michael Thomas isn't there, it doesn't allow everybody else. Like who else are you gonna who else do you have to look at? Like Michael Thomas is your number one priority when you're playing the Saints. And now they don't have Michael Thomas. You can spread your corners. Your safeties don't have to fucking be keeping an eye on Michael Thomas over here. Like I feel like that's a big factor. Is that with Michael Thomas on the field, it leaves your defense open to more opportunities.
well said. Now it's time for the part that I know both of you have been waiting for so much. It's time to talk about that Cowboys-Falcons game. But before we dive into the actual game, I got to pay some respect to one of the Falcons players that I saw on Sunday give a valiant effort. I mean, as we know, the Cowboys had a monstrous comeback to win the game. I personally did not think they had it in them, but we'll get to that. The reason why they had to come back for so many points was that in the first quarter alone, we're not talking first half, the first 15 game time minutes, the Cowboys had 4 fumbles. They only lost 3 of those fumbles, but they still dropped the ball another time. There's a player that I definitely didn't know before yesterday, that everybody should know now,
Yeah.
a fellow whose name is Foye Oluokun. And I've been
Foyesad Olukun.
well, they called him Foye too, so I feel comfortable
Yeah.
with that.
Oh yeah. He's a stud.
So Foye, he had 6 tackles and he forced 3 fumbles in the first quarter of the game alone, which I think is a monstrous stat line for a game, let alone for a first quarter. He came out, and I mean, there's not often times where a linebacker reminds me of Charles Tillman, but he came out and he was doing the peanut punch like he invented it. Like there was the Foye forced fumble. I mean, I think they should maybe rename it, but that's a conversation for another day. He looked really good. He actually ended up only playing on 18 defensive snaps. So
Wow.
that means like
33% of his plays, he made a
Exactly.
tackle.
and then he had
Made a tackle. Yes.
forced fumbles for some of those as
6th.
well. So
Was that 15% or something?
I wasn't going to do
6th is
that.
about it's yes.
I'm happy you guys tried because I was not taking a shot at that. But yeah, I think he had a very good game considering how short he was on there. Unfortunately, he's one of those players that we didn't mention that was injured. He fucked up his hamstring, so he missed the
Well,
next
hey.
3 quarters.
Hey, let's just be honest here. I'd rather have a fucking hamstring right now than ACL. 'Cause that's what that looks like. It's the fucking trend. Is everybody's getting an ACL tear?
Real
So,
talk.
hamstring seems a little fucking. Bless the fuck up.
I'm with that. Now for the Dallas Cowboys in general, I mean, last week I think I had a pretty calm face on. We had a loss that I was happy about this week. We had a loss I was happy about last week, and this week we have a win that I'm kind of mad about, to be honest with you, because we shouldn't have won that game. It's just like plain and simple. We literally played like dog shit from the first 10 minutes of the game. I think Zeke fumbled on the first drive, so it was a shit show from the beginning. There was the big thing I think that proved we should have lost the game was the choice to go for two instead of kick the extra point when we scored that last touchdown. I mean, it was a two-score game anyway, but to put yourself in that position where you needed the what am I saying? You needed both of them eventually, but I'm totally the kind of thinking that you need to kick the extra point first as opposed to go for two. Because that's easier than a 2-point conversion unless you have a shit kicker, in my opinion.
You know that actually the math on that's the other way now, that it makes sense to go for two first because you can always just go for two again.
Well, to be perfectly honest, fuck your math, because it just doesn't make any sense to me why you wouldn't take the easier points before you had to shoot for the stars and get the hard points. You know, that's just me. I don't know. Apparently, Robbie and his math are rocking and rolling in some other world.
That makes so much sense though. Like why do you want to force yourself to potentially have to do two-point conversions when you can just kick a field goal?
Because you get two shots at it as opposed to just one.
So what are you saying? So you're saying if you miss it, you're forced to do it.
So if you miss it, you just have to do it again.
But if you make it, you just kick
then you made it. Congrats.
Yeah, like it makes no sense. It's unnecessary.
I don't know. It's because the thing is, if you go for it twice and you make 50% of them, you got the same amount of points as you kick the extra point. That's all it comes down to.
Yeah, but like what's the stat? Like, is it 50%? Is the
I don't know the exact stat. I just know that makes
get
more
back
sense
to me
to go
next
for
week,
it earlier.
and we'll see.
Anyway, you can continue, Theo. We don't have to debate, man.
I'm going to move on from that before I throw up. On top of that questionable call, I think that drive that led to the touchdown, there was a huge Michael Gallup sideline catch that set us up to score that last touchdown. So not the last drive of the game, but the last drive that ended in a touchdown of the game. And I don't think that was a catch. It was a huge moment where the refs ruled it a catch and then they didn't find enough to overturn it. I think he was out of bounds. I think he got 1 foot down and then his ass hit the sideline. Oh
no, dude, no. I think no. I thought I was telling Robbie because me and Robbie were watching that play. To me, like obviously, like I think we could have all agreed that it was called like whatever the call on the field was. That's what it's going to stay as. Like right, like
yeah, because it was so close where you just didn't really know. Like he would kind of came down in bounds for like a millisecond.
I still thought his ass I thought his ass slightly touched first, but at the same time, like we don't
I saw his elbow hit first. It was it's just one of those things you just don't know. Yeah, and you just got to go with the call on the field.
I think it's whoever you ask.
As a Cowboys fan.
I'm with that, and I know that you usually go with the call on the field unless it was clear and obvious. Then it wasn't. To me, that was clear and obvious that it wasn't. Like maybe heat of the moment you call it a catch, and then you look back at it. I would have overturned that as a referee. But hey, that's just me, and I'm not win. But I don't think the Cowboys should have won that game. It was a great comeback, and I think the Falcons. I mean, if they didn't have the storyline that they're good at blowing leads before, they definitely have it now, like for sure.
Oh, so they definitely already had that. That was already a thing.
Falcons best 0-2 team in the league.
Heard that. I'm with
it. That's it.
They played a good game, and Julio didn't even really do anything.
No.
Oh my, dude! Me and Robbie were stressing about Julio the whole game.
We were having a very tough Julio day. But can I just point one thing out about that game? Is that did no one tell the Falcons the rules of the onside kick? Did they just have no idea what to do about that? There were 3 dudes that could have made a play on that ball before it got past 10 yards, and they all just stood there. And I don't know what that was. I don't know if that's coaching. I don't know if that's miscommunication. But the game is over if one of those 3 idiots just jumps on the ball. I don't know what that was. It was very strange. But maybe we're going to have a long special teams meeting
I think
the
maybe they
rules
were
of the onside
mesmerized by the swirling kick because that was one of the more
It was
interesting.
hypnotizing them.
Yeah, exactly. It was one of the more interesting special team setups that I've seen. You know what I'm saying? Like not even the recovery or the play on the ball, but he laid the ball down, laces up,
hmm
no tee, and then he kicked it to just spin it around like crazy. Like I've never seen a setup for a kick like that. Maybe they were just like, what's he doing? Like, is this really going to spin like this? Is it going to bounce? And it looked more like curling than football for a couple of
A
seconds.
little bit, yeah. Where it just really didn't make any sense, and I don't know. I just like, do they think they can't touch it before 10 yards?
They have to
I
know.
really don't even know.
On the hands team, you're on the hands team. You got to know. Like most of those guys are like fourth string fucking cornerbacks or receivers or whatever.
That's what makes sense. Is why don't you have your guys out there? This is an important play. Like at least Russell Gage. Was he really doing anything else that important?
Well,
Like just throw him out there.
I think the thing is
Hayden
that
Hurst was out there.
I don't know what they were fucking doing. They were all just sitting there. They know the rules. There is zero chance fucking prove me wrong that they don't know the rule that if it doesn't go 10 yards, you can still fucking grab it. Like they know that the kicking team can't touch it for 10 yards. But
Yeah.
boy, by golly, if you're fucking receiving that motherfucker, you can grab that bitch if it goes 1 yard.
I know.
Because it doesn't go 10
weird.
yards. I think what the thing was, now that I'm thinking about it, you know what it was? That first, because I've watched this back all week because where I work, I was watching ESPN. The first guy on it, I think it was the kick and how it was spinning. You know when you spin a quarter or something and then like it stops for a second and then it goes and like you don't know really which way it's going to spin.
Mhm.
I think the first guy was like, oh shit, I don't need to jump on it. It's not going to go 10 yards. And the next thing you know, it just starts picking up speed and starts going to the fucking 10-yard line. I think maybe the kick was – we're not getting enough credit for the kick. Let's be honest here. I think the kick had a big part of it because if you look at the play, it does not look like it's going to go 10 yards, and then it just fucking kicks up speed. I don't know. Fucking
I
voodoo.
mean, the Cowboys kicker, I mean, his name is Greg the Leg. I mean, if you don't feel putting a guy out there called Greg the Leg, and also that he was teamed up with his special teams coordinator on the Rams, John Fossil, I mean, those guys have worked together for a long time. So they were probably sitting on that one waiting to pull it out. They were hoping for the onside kick to do some nasty shit like that. So, that's all I could think of for that.
Yeah. The blunder. It was just a blunder.
And then last thing I have to say about the game, lock of the week is now 1-for-1. 1-for-1 on lock of the week. Because I had the over on that, and it went 79 points. That had any over that could have possibly gotten.
What was the over on it at first? Because I think we all knew it was going to go over.
I think it was like around 56 or so.
Oh, that was easy money, dude. That's fucking easy money.
Yeah,
I knew that was going to go over 56.
56 is high. Don't get me wrong. That 56 is a very high over, but
I said the two high scoring
79,
games, the highest score, two high scoring games I thought were going to be on the Sunday slate was Falcons, Cowboys, and Lions, Packers. And I believe the Packers scored 42 and the Lions scored 21. So that was like a 63-point game. So I had it right. I had it right a little bit, but yeah, you fucking nailed. Fucking 1-for-1, Robbie. Let's go.
Lock of the week. Let's
go.
I also got to say before we move on from the Cowboys that CeeDee Lamb was huge on that last drive after the onside kick before the game-winning field goal, also by Greg the Leg. That was CeeDee Lamb's drive, no doubt. So I think he made his first impact on the Cowboys. Welcome to the squad, number 88.
Yep. I think that was his quote unquote breakout game. Like to show that in a situation like everybody needed to be on point that game if you were a Cowboy, and I think he showed that he was about it.
I wouldn't call it his breakout game because I feel like that needs to be like the whole game is about him. But I could see how I know what you mean in that he proved he belonged on a professional team.
Yeah. Maybe not his breakout game, but yeah, he proved. Yeah. Let's say this: I think he proved that he could wear 88.
Yes, I'm 100% with that. Absolutely, you don't have to tell me, brother.
You played very well.
Guys, we have to talk. I think we have to talk about the MVP race. I know, obviously,
it's over already.
You think it's over?
I'm not saying it's over, but I think that
fucking a statement.
Something drastic has to happen for somebody else at this point. Someone has to step up huge.
let me go out on a limb and guess as to who you think it's over for. Would you say it's Seahawks quarterback Russell Wilson?
It has to be. It has to be.
Okay.
Because he can just score whenever he wants. It's whenever he feels like they need to score. Let's just go score.
Well, don't worry. He was my pick. I mean, 2 weeks in, I think Russell Wilson's the best player in football. Thanks, Bill Belichick. He has 9 touchdowns to 1 interception, which is just ridiculous.
It wasn't even his fault. It was Greg Olson's fault.
Yeah,
Hit him right in the
Yeah.
hands.
Yeah. You don't want to hit in your hands, guys. Okay, that's the last spot you
Oh,
want
wait,
to
hold
hit.
on. But before we continue, Derek and I talked about this of a new stat,
Oh yes,
The-
yes.
the tip pick, where interceptions get credited to receivers that don't catch the ball versus quarterbacks, which I thought was something interesting that just to think about a little bit.
I think that should absolutely be a stat. I think Dak threw, I want to say like 11. It might be more, it might be less, but if you took tip stats into account, I think Dak threw 2 picks last year,
Yeah, like
as
it's
opposed
just, I
to the
mean,
11 it says on the stat.
because high balls are one thing, but when it clearly hits the dude in the hands and he just doesn't catch it,
Yeah.
like that shouldn't be attributed to the quarterback. Like the pass that Russell Wilson threw, it really hit Greg Olson like right in the hands, and then he's kind of like tipped it to the defender, and that was
Yeah.
that was the extent of the play.
And then what we would do is from a fantasy perspective, it would still be minus 2 points to the receiver.
Yeah, just
Um,
minus 2 points for receiver. It was
wanted
was
to-
what we're trying to get the movement started. Tip pick.
We know stats can be added. We learned that over the summer. The stats can
Yeah,
be
with
added.
the fullback assist is a brand
Mhm.
new stat this year.
I'm with all of that. I think that's great for the little things in football that we wouldn't notice. I'm into that.
What were you saying about Russ?
Oh, I think Russ is he's the front runner for MVP, but I got to
Clearly.
shoot down another take for MVP. I've heard a lot from everybody from Cardinals commentators to NFL analysts that Kyler Murray is an MVP candidate. And I think he's playing well, and I think the new offense is looking good, but in each of his first 2 games of the season, he has had 1 passing touchdown and 1 interception. He's had like a couple rushing touchdowns, I think maybe 3 in the first 2 games, but you can't tell me 5 touchdowns and 2 turnovers is MVP worthy.
Not quite, but I think it's just the thing is too. They haven't really played anyone stellar yet. I guess they
Yeah.
played the Niners, but are the Niners really even that good? They beat the Jets.
Yeah, I think the same. Like I want to see more from Kyler. I want to see him. If you're an MVP, you have to be an MVP for 16 games. So this is
Yeah.
game 2, and let's see it. And that's why. And I agree with you that Russell is MVP candidate right now. I wouldn't
I
lock
just
it
don't know. I don't know who's
But-
going to catch him.
right now. I don't know who could. I'm still a firm believer that I'm going to count like 9 touchdowns in 2 games. Like I've only like
And I
that's
think-
playing right now. That's
Yeah.
insane.
And I think he's close to a perfect passer rating, like as close as you can really be with an interception at least. Like, cause he just every single pass he throws is either a touchdown or it's a catch, and if it hits the ground, it's going to be a touchdown the next play because he has the same amount of incompletions as he has touchdowns. It's absolutely nuts.
Oh, let's just you know what before we call him MVP, let's just hope he gets a fucking vote.
Yeah,
That's true.
that's what I was gonna say actually,
Yeah.
because since he's come in the league, he has never ever gotten an MVP vote. Some guys who've gotten MVP votes since the time Russ has been in the league: Carson Palmer, DeMarco
Nice.
Murray. So
Nice.
That's it.
DeMarco had that one really good year though.
he did, and I'm not saying he shouldn't have gotten MVP votes, but to say that he has more MVP votes than Russell Wilson, that's a tragedy.
That is kind of a tragedy.
That's
annoying.
unbelievable.
Minor tragedy.
Put some respect on his name.
Put some spec on that motherfucker's name.
All right.
So let's look forward to week 3, boys. I think there's some good matchups that we have looking forward to. The first one I want to talk about is 49ers Giants, which I can honestly say that even this time last week, I would not have cared about this game. The 49ers, as we said, are falling off. And the Giants, as we said, are not a good football team. Yet again, love to see it. But this game, I think, is intriguing now because both of these teams are going to look
You know
so different after.
Before you move forward, I just want to say one thing. The
Yeah.
Bears are 2-0. All right, you can continue.
All right.
All right, we're moving on. So to see how the teams are going to look different after losing some of their best young players with Nick Bosa on the 49ers and Saquon on the Giants. That's going to be interesting to watch to see how the teams adjust. I know that obviously the 49ers still have a bunch of defensive playmakers, none probably as good as Nick Bosa. And then the Giants are expected to sign Devontae Freeman too.
I think they already have him. I think
Yeah,
think that's official.
they locked him.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. So I don't know how much of the carry he's going to get. I know the other two Giants running backs are Wayne Gallman and Dion Lewis. So
There's not much. There's
I
not
think
much there.
Devontae Freeman is going to be maybe not this week, but in 2 weeks, I think he's going to be the main force, main structure around the offense.
I agree
they're
with
gonna,
you.
Like, I wouldn't trust 5'2" Dion Lewis and fucking Wayne Gallman.
Oh, so you'd rather choose 5'6" Devontae Freeman?
Yeah, 100%. At least he has some fucking beef.
God bless.
Fuck.
Yeah.
I'm looking through these
I think
games.
I think that they said that both Kittle and Garoppolo are probably going to sit because they don't like the turf at MetLife Stadium. They say it's like sticky and there's something wrong with it. So I think that there's going to be really nobody on either side of these teams that are really even going to play. You're going to get
Can I
Daniel
be honest
Jones.
with you? I want to say something real quick about this. I understand they had a lot of injuries and a lot of injuries to key players, but so did the fucking rest of the league. Like,
Yeah.
Is it really the fucking field, or are you just bitching and complaining?
Yeah.
I think probably a combination. I think there's probably something weird with the field. But still,
There-
I mean,
The Jets did lose Le'Veon Bell, Brashad Perriman, and Chris Hogan all this week too. So
yeah.
it might be MetLife.
I still think I told you guys. I was talking to you guys. I think it is the week 2. I think it's the fact they had no preseason games.
That's
no
100% what it is, Derek.
No
It's
one
because they
came
didn't have
into
any
it.
actual contact.
No one came.
It wasn't
into
game
week
speed.
2. No one came into week 2 100%. Like I feel like you can blame it more on preseason rather than field conditions based off of the injuries around the league.
True.
Absolutely. The Cowboys, it's week 2, and the Cowboys have 9 players on IR right now.
I was
Do you
shocked
think
you guys won that
IR
game
is
with
only
all your
week-
injuries.
IR is only
There's
3 weeks
so
this year
many.
though, which is nice.
Yeah. All right. You guys want to move on to the second game we have here, Bengals Eagles?
Yeah, Bengals Eagles I think is intriguing because both teams are 0-2, and I think winless matchups are just as interesting as lossless matchups because we're really gonna get to see who wants it more. Joe Burrow looked okay. There were times where the Eagles looked okay. So someone just has to be more okay. I think that's going to be a good one to watch.
I think it comes down to Carson Wentz and can he bail himself out because you can
Nope.
feel Philly's pretty much all the way done with Carson Wentz. I don't really see them extending him beyond this year. If he doesn't show any kind of promise or anything, I don't really see them being like, Carson Wentz, we're going to give you another shot. I think he's had his share of shots. I think the clock is ticking now, Carson.
I would agree with you, Robbie, from a logical standpoint, but we're talking about Philadelphia Eagles here, and I could totally see them locking him up to a Deshaun Watson contract, only for him to play 13 games a year.
There you
Barely.
go. I mean,
Barely.
I could also see that happening.
Bro, dude, this game. Let's go, Joe. Let's go. Honestly, honestly, dude, like I am completely off the Eagles, 100%. Like, I get it. Like, you guys addressed nothing in the draft. Like, you guys suck. No, I'm kidding. You guys did a lot, but the fact is that how can Carson Wentz still be respected as a quarterback when either you can't stay healthy or you can't it was fucking Doug Peterson said, have you ever thrown a football pass in the league, like a football in the league? It's no pass is an easy pass.
So
there's a
my
lot
question
of
for
easy
you-
passes as an NFL quarterback.
Yeah.
Like a lot of passes you should make as a NFL quarterback. Though that's
I
the
also
thing
agree,
is
but-
that you need to be held to that standard.
I have a question for you. If you're the Eagles, who are you keeping first, Carson Wentz or Doug Peterson?
Doug Peterson.
Doug Peterson, because Carson Wentz hasn't proven that he can play a full season.
I think Doug's a fine coach. I have no problems with Doug,
Yeah.
but
If Carson Wentz was on the field and they were losing, I might attribute it to more Doug Peterson, maybe. But the fact is that Carson Wentz, like, he got sacked 8 times and he's still breathing. It's amazing. Um, like I don't see him staying healthy. I hope my boy comes in, dude.
Jalen Hurts.
Boomer.
Yeah.
All right.
So yeah, there's that game. Go Joe.
I'm interested to see the Washington football team take on the Cleveland Browns this week. A stellar defense and a vicious run game, as we talked about earlier in the show. I think this is just going to be some classic punch you in the mouth football. And I think it's going to be the team who can hand out the most punches that's going to end up getting the win. My pick for that game is the Browns because the Redskins offense hasn't showed me much of anything.
There's one player. There's one player that showed you a little bit of something. Your man Terry is the whole offense onto himself.
Absolutely. So they just, as long as they pay attention to Scary Terry, the rest of the team. I don't see the Redskins having enough to compete with that run game.
Not quite.
No, I know I think the Browns. At least you can run the ball when Baker just fucking sucks. Like
Baker throws a good ball every once in a while. If you can just give him enough shots, he'll throw good balls sometimes.
Mitch.
Bro, that ball to Odell was really good. But like you said, like when's the next time we're gonna see it? Week 4, not week 3. We know he can't do it back-to-back weeks. So like at least a week 4. So like Baker, get better, kid. Like stop doing commercials. Like you earned nothing for him. And yeah, I loved you. You were my guy in Oklahoma. You were my guy first year. But boy, you fell off quick, bud.
Can I just throw in my lock of the week real quick here?
Please.
Just real quick. Any points you can take with this, the Titans are going to destroy the Vikings. It's not even really going to be close. I have no faith in the Vikings at all. The Titans are playing so well right now. Ryan Tannehill, you were talking about MVP candidates. I'm not saying he's on that level yet, but he's been playing very efficient ball. He looks okay. No problems with Ryan Tannehill. I was kind of crapping on him last week. I feel better about him moving forward, so I'm going lock of the week. Take whatever points you want. Titans over Vikings.
I think it's so weird, Robbie, that you praise any team that's playing an NFC North team.
What do you mean?
So weird.
I have no
so
problems
weird.
with the Titans. I don't know.
You praise every. Let me guess. You're a huge Cardinals fan this week, and also you.
I'm a big Kyler fan this week.
You love the Saints.
I'm a big Kyler fan this week.
No, I'm kidding. No, I think the Vikings have something to prove this week. Like not the Vikings. Kirk Cousins has something to prove this week. Because Robbie, we talked about. I'm still on Kirk Cousins. Like I know you shit the bed. I know. I get it. You shit the bed. You have like 2 of those games. Usually it's a Sunday night game, though. You never do it at noon, which is really weird. But just get better, and you got this. Like I don't know. I think Kirk Cousins bounces back. I don't know if they win, but he looks. It's impossible to not look better than last week.
Yeah. We were comparing Kirk Cousins to Daniel Jones last week, and that's just not company you want to keep, Kirk. That's not. When you're getting paid that amount of money, when you have playoff wins, if you're getting compared to Daniel Jones, maybe you got to get up to like a higher gear. There's got to be something else there. Then maybe you can keep your team in some games.
Actually, hold on. I want to say something.
What are you going to say?
This is just reminding me. This goes out. This is a fat shout out to fucking Colin and Marlon. All right. Fat shout out.
Name drop.
Stephon Diggs, #1 in Buffalo. Okay.
You're right.
I'm just saying. You guys were saying that it was John Brown there. Stephon Diggs balled out for 2 weeks in a row. John Brown can only ball for 1 week in a row. Stephon Diggs is the leading receiver in the NFL right now. He is the #1. I'm sorry. I just had to say that. I had to get that in there.
All right. So, speaking of the Bills, though, actually, you want to move on to the Rams-Bills game?
I do very much. But Robbie, I want to kind of touch on something you said really quick. I would not have thought of Ryan Tannehill as an MVP candidate. But when you said it, I was trying to think of reasons why you were wrong. And I was like, well, I can't think of any. So I looked up his stats real quick. I looked up his stats. And he's only played the Broncos and the Jaguars. And as we said, week 2, very young in the season, still a lot of football left to play. But in 2 games, Ryan Tannehill has completed 70% of his passes for 488 yards, 6 touchdowns, no picks, and a passer rating of 120.
Whew.
So I think he might be playing on that level. Definitely better than Kyler. I'm going to go ahead and piggyback off of you, Robbie, and I'm going to put Ryan Tannehill on the MVP watch list.
Oh, look at that. Ryan Tannehill making waves.
Definitely not as high as Russ.
Yeah.
But I couldn't
But
name a
he's-
number
he's-
two.
There's something there. There's something there. He's been very good so far.
Absolutely. And hey, maybe it's just because he's handing the ball off well, but if that's what it takes to win the football games, then I'll put that player on my team 7 days out of the week.
I think he's playing well too. I just want to see him once again. I want to see him throw the ball when he needs to throw the ball. When the run game doesn't work, I want to see him be forced to pass it. Same thing with Lamar. I want to see them throw the ball. He's a really good quarterback though. I think we mentioned this. He is the Alex Smith of this era. Like he's a really good time manager and he's very efficient in what he does.
All
Ryan
right,
Tannehill.
let's move on here. We're getting short on time.
Yeah, we got the Rams-Bills game. Both teams, correct me if I'm wrong, are 2-0.
Yes.
Playing some really good football. Gotta love the Buffalo Bills. I think that's going to be a great matchup where two teams, maybe some contrasting styles, are going to face up. That's going to be an instant classic, I think. Anything on the Rams-Bills?
I think it comes down to quarterback play heavily. Josh Allen's looked good so far. Jared Goff's also looked good so far. So what defense steps up? Is it going to be Aaron Donald or is it going to be that just all-around solid defense of the Bills?
Yeah, I can agree as well. I think it's more leans toward Josh Allen. Josh Allen's playing unbelievable football right now. He's like 70%. Let me get his stats. He's like a 70% percentage rate. 70%, 727 yards and 6 touchdowns with 122.6 passer rating per 2 games.
How many picks?
Playing the Jets and Dolphins, 0 picks.
He has 0 picks. Wow.
Playing the Jets, so it's not characteristic of Josh Allen within his career. Like I mentioned many times, 57.7 completion rates with an 82.4 passer rating. It is 2 games against the Jets and Dolphins, but I think this is Josh Allen's game to show what he's worth.
Prove something. Yeah, I agree.
Sure. Speaking of what you said, Robbie, it all comes back down to quarterback play. Our primetime games this week, Sunday night and Monday night matchups. I mean, I don't know if there's any better quarterback matchups
I don't think
that
you could pick
put
4
together in the league.
Yeah, I mean, you could pick 4 better quarterbacks.
Sunday night we got Saints.
Whoa. Robbie giving a fucking compliment to fucking Aaron
I was just
Rodgers.
saying, as
What
far as a
the
group of 4
fuck?
quarterbacks, I'm not
Shit.
going to say anything bad about him. Let's just keep moving forward here. Let's just not
Okay,
dwell
yeah. Let's
on
fucking
anything nice being said about the Packers.
timestamp Robbie fucking jerking off at Aaron
6:47 on
Rodgers.
Thursday said something decently okay about Aaron Rodgers.
Saints Packers. I mean, with the injury to Devontae Adams, I think that's going to be huge for the Saints. Michael Thomas, we know, is going to be out probably for the Sunday night game. Devontae Adams could be there actually. I should change that. He could
He
play.
didn't practice today.
Did he? All right,
He did not.
that's good to know. He did not.
Yeah, he did not practice today.
Okay,
Yeah,
well
no.
that's good to know as well. So Saints Packers, I mean, that's going to come down to quarterback play, 2 guys lighting it up. And then you want to talk about 2 guys lighting it up. Monday Night Football, Chiefs Ravens. I mean, this could be probably 70% of football fans' AFC Championship realistically. True. So I think this is going to be a great game where we watch 2 great offenses go against each other. I mean, Derek, do you have anything to say about Chiefs Ravens? I mean, you got to be, your cockles have to be tingling for this one.
No, it's going to be a great game. I think I'm a little nervous going into it because once again, Ravens last year, Mark Ingram ran for 3 touchdowns and like 150 yards or whatever. Like our run defense sucks. But this week we get back Mike Pennell. And Theo, you know Mike Pennell. You know I talk about him. Every time he's in the game, the run stopping gets immensely better. Obviously, this is the Ravens, so it's not going to be you can only stop so much. I think I'm gonna call the Chiefs to win just because I think it's gonna be a close game. And it could be AFC Championship. Shit, with the new playoffs, it could be fucking divisional round with the new playoffs.
For this though, I think something that's going to stand out is will the Chiefs be able to bring down Lamar Jackson? I was at this game in person when it was at Arrowhead last year, and I remember that was the first time I got to see Lamar Jackson really play in person, and I was just shocked with how quick and elusive the guy is. If the Chiefs can't get him down, it's going to be a long day of staring at Lamar Jackson.
It's always a long day when we play him, though. But the fact is that Lamar hasn't beat us yet. So there's like Lamar has a chip on his shoulder. We want to tame this rivalry. We want to make this not a rivalry, and we want to destroy the Ravens. No, really, like we're 2-0. Like we don't want this to be a rivalry. We want to fucking be 3-0 against them and call it good. So I think there's a lot to prove on. There's a lot going on both sides of the ball. I'm not streaming Monday. I'm watching this game. We're having some fun, and we're gonna fucking barbecue. Robbie, you're coming over.
I actually will be there that night. I'm coming back that night. I will be in town.
That's a beautiful thing because that didn't sound like an invitation. That sounded like a demand.
Well, no. Me and Robbie are in agreement that we're basically. If we're not busy, we're probably going to be hanging out on Sundays if there's nothing
just to watch
coming
football.
up.
Just go.
Yeah.
We've been having the 3 TV action. Oh, that's reminded of something that I want to say really quick is that we were talking about this and just about shouting out guys from the past that you just completely forgot about. We were talking about D'Angelo Williams and Jonathan Stewart, and they both had insanely really good seasons that I never even knew about. I think we looked at Jonathan Stewart had a season where he had 1,600 yards and like 12 touchdowns, and he caught 60 balls. Like, it was just out of nowhere that Jonathan Stewart just this elite back. But I think maybe trying to instill something in the future where we're just going to, like, shout out one random dude that we forgot about. And additionally, Frank Gore once had 1,800 yards and, like, 15 touchdowns as well. Like, just absolute stellar seasons.
Was that combined, or wasn't that with, like, 500 yards receiving or something like that?
No, that was without the receiving. I think that he had over 2,000 yards from scrimmage that year, which was just – I never would have thought – Frank Gore, 1,800 yards on the ground and 500 in the air.
Yeah, so there we go.
2007.
I kind of want to. I can't really speak on this. I love Frank Gore, but actually, to be perfectly honest, I kind of fucking hate Jonathan Stewart. He's one of the most overrated players I've seen in my lifetime. But I don't want to.
Jonathan Stewart's overrated.
I don't want to speak on that.
I didn't think he was overrated at all. I think he was on a very good Panthers team where he was efficient, so he looked better. Like he was good for the first 3 years that we looked at his stats?
It was his first 2 years, and then he fell off like so hard.
Yeah, like I think it was the 2015 Panthers that made him look really good rather than.
Well, no, his seasons where he was stellar like that were in like 20. It was in like 2006 or 2007 when he was putting up numbers like that.
Yeah, so it was
still actually a pretty good Panthers team though.
And I think another name that came up before we move on was Ben Jarvis Green Ellis. No, was it?
I don't remember talking about Ben Jarvis Green Ellis at all.
No, it wasn't. It was Corey Dillon. Who was it from the Bengals? Was it Corey Dillon from the?
Cedric
Bengals?
Benson, former Bear. Cedric Benson.
That's it. Yes, that's it. That's it.
Yeah, so we might try to do a highlight on a season, maybe do something like that from this point forward.
Hey, also, if you have made it this far in the podcast, I want you, me and Robbie, if you have a 3 quarterback, where your Teddy Bridgewater is your quarterback, and you have 3 running backs, who is your 3 running backs?
Yeah, we're doing a 3 running back backfield.
That you will
you're in the full house. Yeah, you're in a full house. You got a quarterback in the middle, one
Teddy
back
Bridgewater.
behind you,
It is Teddy Bridgewater
on each side, and one on each side. Is what we were talking about.
Who was yours, Robbie? I forgot.
I had Derrick Henry behind me, and then McCaffrey and Jacobs on either side.
Yeah, I had Derrick Henry, McCaffrey, and then
you had
Nick
Zeke.
Chubb.
That was the only difference.
Was it Zeke? Was it Zeke? Yeah, it was Zeke. Yeah, and I thought so those were my 3.
Oh yeah.
So Theo, if you have a 3 to spit off the top of your head, you can pop it in there.
I don't really know. I don't want to participate in that conversation, to be perfectly honest.
All right, 10 seconds starting now.
It's that time, boys. It's time for some burnt takes at this point. My burnt take is a week old at this point. This take literally made me stand up out of my seat when I heard it. So I'm watching the Browns-Bengals last week, enjoying some good AFC North football like we talked about. And Troy Aikman, who is normally my guy, such a straight shooter, And he calls it like it is, and I respect that. But last week, during the Browns-Bengals game, he mentioned that Myles Garrett was an elite player in this league. And that was very shocking to me. Now, I'm not knocking Myles Garrett. There's not many better defensive linemen that you could say are better than him. I maybe wouldn't argue that he was an elite pass rusher in this league. But to call him an elite player in this league overall, I really have a hard time getting behind. I mean, what would we call like the number of players who you would say are truly elite in this game?
I
What
mean,
would you guys say?
like, I think you just said what Troy was saying is that he is an elite pass rusher. I mean, because how
That's
many
not what he
pass
said.
rushers?
That's not what he
I
said.
mean,
He said
he said
elite
he's
player.
elite. Is that all he said?
He was riding his dick, and he was saying that Myles Garrett is a great player, someone that you have a hard time leaving a guy to single block, which I wouldn't argue. And then he said, not a direct quote, but he said he's one of the elite players in this league.
So
Not
defensive
elite pass
lineman wise,
rusher.
defensive lineman, who are you
That's not what he
putting?
said.
What's your list? No, but what's your list of defensive linemen that are in front of him?
I mean, I don't know that I could list a bunch. Like I said, I don't know if I could list a bunch of defensive linemen that are better than him. He might be an elite pass rusher. Maybe I could buy that. I mean, some names that just come off the top of my head, like Aaron Donald, Von Miller, I would still put up there.
Chris Jones.
I would say, what
Christian.
Chris Jones.
did you say? Oh, Chris Jones. I would put
I
Chris
don't know why
Jones
you're laughing
above
at that, Robbie.
Miles Garrett.
I don't know why
I
you're
wouldn't laugh
laughing
at that. I would for sure.
I wouldn't
put,
call Chris Jones a pass rusher.
what would you call him?
What's he made of? He made his money pass rushing.
What would
I
you
think
call
he's
him?
very good. I think he's very good against the run. I
No,
think
he's not. You don't know him. He has made his money in pass rushing.
Yeah, he's a Kansas
He
City
is
Chief,
not a run
Robbie. You forget
stopper.
this.
He is not a run stopper.
All right,
by
all
any
right.
stretch.
I'm gonna drop this then.
Good call. I feel like that there's more defensive linemen or even pass rushers that you can name that are better. Shaquille Barrett, Chandler Jones are some other toss-ups that I could just come up with. But to say that Myles Garrett is in like top 70 players in the league, I think is a horrible stretch. Horrible stretch. I don't agree with that one at all. I feel like you could name 70. If you're counting offense and defense, there's really no way. You could easily name 70 players better than Myles Garrett. His on the field production might be on that level, maybe. Last year he had a sack for every game he played in, 10 sacks for 10 games. But you need to remember that the reason he played 10 games was because he took a player's helmet and beat him over the head with it. That does not say elite, like prime time player in this game to me. That says fucking hot-headed dumbass who could have easily just thrown him to the ground and walked away. So I have a hard time saying Myles Garrett is one of the best players in this league. Premier. I can't have it.
I want to say that I think Myles Garrett is still somebody you game plan for.
Absolutely.
And I think I haven't put much thought into it as you have. You've probably put more thought into this than me. I would say he's an elite pass rusher. I would probably say I don't know. Like I said, I haven't put much thought into it. I've known Myles Garrett. Like when he's on the field, he is disruptive. That's all. That's what I do know. But then it comes back to we did hit somebody with a helmet last year, Mason Rudolph. But I don't know. I just haven't. I haven't put the thought into it yet to disagree or agree.
And I'm not. I don't want to make it sound like that I'm taking away all of his credibility because of the helmet incident. I mean, everybody has some fuck up at one point or another, but it just does not help his case at all. I don't know if I feel comfortable saying he's an elite player. Once again, maybe an elite defensive lineman, maybe an elite pass rusher. I would have to look into names and numbers to come down to that, but not an elite player. That is not how elite players carry themselves on the field. Look at Larry Fitzgerald, Julio Jones, Patrick Mahomes. Look at guys, I don't know, I feel
Russell
like I come up
Wilson.
with a ton of Russell Wilson, absolutely, who, do their job and get it done and aren't spouting off like a fucking hothead like that. I mean, this is a game of passion totally, but I don't know. I don't see elite players acting like that.
Yeah, that's fair.
I understand what you're saying, and I understand what you're saying where he's not an elite player. I can't put the elite pass rusher thing past him. I think that when it comes to pass rushers, there's a very short list that I'm going to put in front of him. I think that he's very hard to stay in front of. You said it. He had 10 sacks in 10 games. I mean, it's hard to do much better than that. So I think as far as that goes, I agree with your personality thing that maybe there's something wrong with him there, or maybe not necessarily wrong with him, but he made a mistake there that may not let you trust him to be elite. I mean, I guess let's just give him a little bit more time, in my opinion. If he's going to put up the numbers and he's able to stay cool throughout this whole year, he's able to play all 16 games and put up good sack numbers, I don't think there's any reason that Myles Garrett isn't in the discussion easily for a top 70 player.
I would have to see a lot for him to prove me wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to say again, like, I'm totally not fighting. If Troy Aikman said that Myles Garrett was one of the elite pass rushers in this game, I wouldn't have thought twice about it. But the fact that he said elite players, that makes me uncomfortable to say that.
Okay.
That's fair.
Let me put it this way. Sorry, let me just say one more thing. I would feel as comfortable having Akeem Hicks on my defensive line as I would Myles Garrett. No doubt. No doubt in my mind.
You would have.
Akeem Hicks is not a pass rusher.
That's fine.
Okay.
In terms of defensive lineman, he's a good run stopper. He has interior pass rush. I would feel as comfortable as having either of those guys.
I like that. I will say that I can't remember how many it was in a row, but Chris Jones tied the record, and I think maybe broke the record for the most consecutive sacks in a game.
I want to say it was 12 or 14.
It was something like that. So I want to put that out there, Robbie. He's a pass rusher.
All right. I completely dropped it. We can move on.
Well, no. I brought it back because you said he said 10 sacks in 10 games, and you don't know who's done that before. So I'm telling you, that's somebody that's done it before.
I never asked who's done that before. I said it was impressive that he had 10
you said not
sacks
many
in
people
10
have,
games.
so I just wanted to let you know.
Yes. All right. Not many people have.
Plus, I mean, I don't want to throw gas on the fire, Robbie, but
Don't say anything. Don't go where you're gonna go.
No, I'm going to. The fact that Myles Garrett, like we say, he had 10 sacks and he played in 10 games. I can't tell you that he had 1 sack in every game he played.
Oh yeah.
There might be games.
I don't know either. Yeah, I
Right.
also do not know.
Exactly, but the record that Derek is talking about is that Chris Jones had a sack in 12 or 14 straight games.
I don't think
I
it was
understand.
14. I don't think it was 14, but
Then 12 straight games with a sack. That's elite.
hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, Robbie. Love you still.
Again, I have nothing to say about this. I've taken my step back. I've respected what you guys have said. I've said nothing to discount your guys' facts.
No.
Just move
We're just
forward.
making sure that you don't think Chris Jones is a run stopper. That's all we're doing. That's the big thing.
I thought he was more versatile than that. I thought just based off size.
No,
You just have to remember. You just have to remember that he's on the Chiefs.
We can't stop the run.
Yeah.
We're shit, my guy. We suck at stopping the run. So that's why I got more hysterics about it, because we suck at stopping the run. Like, that's just facts. Sorry.
Derek Brent
Do
take.
you have a bird take, Derek?
My burn take
Like,
comes out today, September 24th at 2:46 p.m. Prosecutors dropped it's a burn take, but it's a take. Prosecutors dropped the charges against the Patriots owner, Robert Kraft, and solicitation, aka getting jerked off in a fucking nail salon, whatever it was. Massage parlor, whatever. The fact of the matter is that with the evidence of videos of there was recorded evidence, none of it was released to the public. I don't know why. Fucking maybe because Robert Kraft has a fucking tiny pee-pee. I don't know, but it wasn't released to the public, and they're just gonna let him go. I don't get it. Like, can we see what evidence that you brought to the table that said he didn't do it? That's what I want to know. That's like kind of like the thing that I'm trying to bring up is I think he did it still. I think he had some fun. He had some rub and tugs. That's it.
I'm fully ready to call Robert Kraft guilty.
I thought we were. I really thought we were. This just came up today, and I was like, what? What?
That is
I thought we
that
already
is some
did.
bullshit.
I thought he just pleaded guilty. I thought I didn't know like he was actually. I mean, I could see now because he's like a millionaire. That yeah, I'd probably fight it. But like who got a hefty check for this? Like some prosecutor got a really big check to tell them that he didn't do it.
It was the owner of whatever it was. That's 100% what happened.
Yeah, that maybe not the prosecutor, but he definitely paid off the owner. They're like, hey, delete
Yeah,
these tapes.
it's all it is. I mean, I don't personally want to touch this so hard because there's lots of things that are very wrong about what he did, but
Very
the fact
wrong.
that the charges are dropped is very suspicious, and I don't know. It's just something that I don't know if anyone's ever going to even look into again
Let,
because
let's just
supposedly both sides are happy.
let's just add this to another good old Foxborough call.
This was a Foxborough call. Somehow, some way, he got a Foxborough call in a completely unrelated, a completely un-Foxborough related event.
So I think that's my burnt take is that I think he got off easy by getting nothing. So there we go.
I can't argue that. Robbie doesn't have a burnt take, but I'm sure he'll come up with one next week.
I will
Probably.
have something. I will have something for sure.
I've noticed that it's been kind of hard to find them because most of the news now articles nowadays are like just updates to the league rather
Yeah,
than
it's more of updates than people's takes. So you kind of have to like have certain people you listen to. I really just listen to part of my take, and those guys are just more funny than anything. So
yeah.
I've found where I'm finding mine other than this the Troy Aikman one, which I got from watching, is I look at the opinion pieces on like the NFL app.
Okay.
So I've been
I
looking.
can start looking over there.
Yeah, there was one of them that was from the Stardom Situms. There was one of them that was like things to look forward to in the league. There's usually people like what's his name, Bucky Brooks writes them, or those guys, the
Yeah,
analysts,
I
Adam
know what you're
Rank,
talking about.
all them. Those are good places to look.
Right.
Yeah.
So all right, well, I think that is the end of the episode. Episode 3.
Can I just say
in the
one
books.
thing
Yeah, what's
about
up?
fantasy for next week?
Yeah.
Just one thing for fantasy about next week is that in FanDuel, I think pretty much any value you're taking Kyler. The Detroit defense has shown that they've been unable to stop any quarterback
Mhm.
so far. I mean, it's been 2 weeks, but Mitch and then Aaron Rodgers just carved him up. And saying that Mitch carved you up, I mean, that's kind of tough. So look for Kyler to probably go double-digit touchdowns for sure, probably one on the ground as well. So just start Kyler.
Okay.
That's what I got for you this week.
I like it. I like it. I'd say if I had a lock of the week, my lock of the week, I know this is an unpopular opinion, but I think it has to be. No, it can't be. I think. Oh, I was going to say it. You know what? I'm going to say it. My lock of the week is Falcons over the Bears.
Wow.
Oh,
Okay.
That's my
Some
lock.
lock.
That's my lock.
Okay.
If I'm wrong, I'm wrong.
It's not
Well,
a good matchup for the Bears.
Well, I was gonna say
because
Niners.
it's a good team.
I was gonna say Niners over Giants, but
Offense.
I don't like that's probably more of a lock. But if we're gonna be a little bit bolder, I just like Robbie, like we've said, Falcons are 0-2 and they're the best. They're the best 0-2 team. The Bears need to. This is
Prove
their
it
time to
already.
prove. This is the week to show that their offense is worth it. You know what I'm saying?
I think the Bears are going to consistently play to their opponent.
Uh-huh.
And the only thing that scares me about this opponent is it's one of the most potent offenses in the entire league. And then we're going to have to somehow match that or slow it down.
Right.
And both are very hard to do. So, I mean, it's not that I'm saying that your lock of the week is wrong, but
Yeah.
I'm just saying
I'm not saying I'm saying right now that between every game of the week, I can't tell you. I could see situations where something happens and one of the person loses. I think this.
except for the Jets. Except the Jets will just always lose.
Yeah, but I'm not going to say that. That's
That's
so
your lock of the
boring.
year.
That's so boring to say. Jets, Colts. You know what I'm saying? Like I wanted to make it fun. And I want you to roast me next week. I'd love for you to come in and roast me next week to say that the Bears are 3-0.
I would love for you to be my burn take next week, Derek. That'd really make me
Well,
proud.
you know what? I mean,
Hey,
I
let me-
guess, but
Let me jump in here and get on this train while we're doing locks of the week. My lock of the week. Are you ready for this?
uh-huh.
Seattle over Dallas. Going
Whoa.
to happen. I picked the Cowboys against the Rams. I picked the Cowboys against the Falcons. And they have showed me some good things, some bad things. The Seahawks have shown me nothing but sheer domination. 4+ passing touchdowns in each of their first 2 games. and I don't think Dallas has the secondary to keep up with Seattle. So I think the Seahawks beat the Cowboys. And honestly, I come out winning on either side of this because either I'm wrong and the Cowboys upset the Seahawks, and also I have Russ on my fantasy team. So
Easy money.
both my fantasy teams actually. So I
got
feel
DK.
pretty good about that.
All right. What's up?
I just wanted to say, like, real super quick, we don't have to spend time on this, but Robbie and I played in fantasy this week, and Robbie won. I respect the fact that you won and made the right plays and everything. I mean, you started the right people, sure, all that. But I also really respect the fact that you didn't bring it up in this podcast. So I brought it up and put myself out there. Good
My
game.
team is just very good. I think that you're not going to be the last person to lose to me this season. I'm just going to throw that out there.
All right, that was pretty cocky. But,
All right, let's get on to the Bears are going 16-0, everybody. So
So far, I'm right.
all right, that is week 3, episode 3 of Mask Off Podcast. Really appreciate everybody coming out, dropping some shit. Honestly, it's been fun, loving it, and I can't think of a better way to hang out Thursday than talk to my boys about some football.
I feel the same way.
Tear down.
Yeah.
Go Chiefs.
Go Fins.
Oh, dude. I like the Jags tonight. I'm sorry. I hate to say it. I hate to go against the dark horse.
God.
I hate to go against my dark horse. All right, but we're going to be out of here. It's been fun. It's been real. And we out.
All right. See you guys.